We'll move to the last panel discussion of the day. For that, let me invite Manoj Deshmukh on stage. Manoj is the general manager of vConstruct and also the co-founder of CTI Foundation, is from the leadership team of vConstruct and has 30 years of experience working across US, Europe, and APAC regions. He has more than 10 years of experience in senior leadership positions in various organizations. At vConstruct, Manoj is leading operations and is responsible for HR, recruitment, IT, marketing, and SEC operations. He also provides mentorship to finance and accounting and software development group. He's also leading some of the key strategic initiatives at vConstruct. Please welcome, with a big round of applause, Manoj on stage.
Thanks, Mustafa. So for this AI and AIML panel, I think a lot of you have a lot of questions. But let me start with the introduction. So Arun K Vijay. Arun is an AEC professional with 22 years of industry experience, wearing multiple hats in structural engineering, project management, and design. I would like to invite Arun on the stage. I think Atul probably needs no introduction. He is already introduced a couple of times, but just to connect to AIML, Atul also leads the technology and innovation group in DPR, and he's also responsible for a couple of AIML implementation across DPR and other customers. So I would like to invite Atul on stage. Okay, Atul should joining. So Keshav is the CEO founder of Augrade, and they are basically training physics-based AI models that convert 2D building blueprints into building compliant 3D CAD models. I'd like to welcome Keshav. Vivek Mahajan. Vivek leads digital transformation division in CCTech. He has successfully integrated AI-driven solutions to optimize business operations. I'd like to invite Vivek. So Atul is joining. So all of us know that, and all of us heard that AI is going to change the world. And we have an interesting panel. Atul can talk from a general contractor point of view. We have the technology folks. And I would like to have answers on a couple of areas. One is like what's happening in the industry now. So each of you, if can focus on mostly from a customer point of view, even if you are from a technology side. So what's happening, which is going to help your customer in the AIML space, that's first area. The second area I would like to understand is basically, how do you select the right use case, right? In general, we know the perception is like hardly 20 to 30% of usage goes to production. And every damn thing becomes a AIML use case. So are we sure, like, is this the right use case? And the third area is, are we ready for this change? So maybe start with the first, and maybe Atul, if you want to add. So the first question is, what's happening in DPR on the AIML space? And like, can you give some relevant examples?
Yeah, so I mean, at DPR, we are trying to think of AI from sort of a knowledge management perspective first, and then utilizing. I know Martin had a very different view about utilizing past data, but we are trying to see if we can use some of the past data to, make some sort of prediction. So, an example of that is, we know for how many resources we have used in terms of staffing to do past projects, and we have all the other parameters for those projects, what type of project it was, healthcare versus life sciences versus data center, which region it belonged to, and things like that. And every new project that we do, basically we have to do that prediction is how many resources we are going to need to do that. And so it's a use case that's maybe simple, and I don't think it's really like a Gen AI type of use case, but still it's a machine learning type of use case, and it's helping. So we, build something that, people are using as they are sort of doing their estimates for their projects. So that's just a quick example, Manoj.
So, Vivek, like as a part of CCTech, have you implemented anything for your customers, or like even in a prototype state it is like, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. I think in CCTech from last 12 years, we are working on AI ML technology. So we do have our product called as thermal comfort analysis. In that, we have implemented to predict the thermal comfort analysis before doing the simulation. So it saves designer to do the iteration for the simulation. So it helps them to save the CFD cost. So it makes the solution as a cheaper. And then we also have another application for control wall industry. In that we have created a ML model for predicting the CV/KV curve prediction. Then again moving towards, again we are working with the customer. So we have created a different optimization, multi-objective optimization, in which we have created optimizers for design layouts, then space layouts. So different things we have done. Yeah. So I think there are many applications we have done. Then again, recently from when GenAI is into the market, we have also created co-pilots for CAD applications, so that the designers can use them inside the CAD application to get the details about the model, to get the details about the how they can do the designs.
Okay, thanks, Vivek. So, Keshav, you are in the design automation space. I heard like you are working on the interesting algorithms. So, what kind of work you are doing, and how much it will bring efficiency or quality?
Absolutely. So essentially what we do is we're training AI models that help you convert LOD 100 schematic drawings into LOD 400 BIM models, which are code compliant, clash free, convert those into your material quantities, takeoffs, and then BOQs, and then construction documents. Now, if you look at the construction industry from a top-down perspective, or just the workflow, you'll understand that going from conceptual, let's say feasibility studies, to going from conceptual designs, then going from your, let's say SDs to your DD phase, then going from DD to CD phase, and then ensuring your BOQs are in place, ensuring your material quantities, your supply chain is in order. Now, each and every phase takes at least 2 to 3 months, depending upon how complex the project is. But with AI, essentially what you can do is you can convert an image into a 3D model and bypass, or rather ensure that the entire process is completed fairly quickly without the human errors. So the efficiency is going to be very important and very drastic. But then I also think that we need human in the loop. It's not going to be completely automated. We need that expertise from the people to understand and ensure that the AI can only be as good as the data you feed it. And the efficiency can be very interesting and important when you think of converting just creating one BIM model. As of now, if I want to convert just a floor plan into, let's say, a 3D model and use Revit and these tools, I have to spend at least, 3 to 4 days at a base to convert that into a base level, then increase the level of development for each and every model obviously takes additional more complexities and inputs from different trades. So architects, engineers, my structural engineers, my electrical, plumbing, piping, all have to be involved. So you can essentially make it much more simpler and direct.
So Arun, you want to talk about?
Yeah, so adding to what Keshav said, so I've also been working on the design side of automation more. Along with that, there is the construction side as well. But the AI and ML, which is currently, what is being implemented in lot many more AEC industry, especially from the design side, is together with the human in the loop. So there is a lot of automation happening, more of workflow kind of automation than completely going with the AI ML part. Though there is always, in the AI side, of course, the generation, the BIM generation. There is also a couple of other use cases like a shortest path, shortest route, and design optimization. We've also worked with a couple of, even in a retail space, where you could model BIM, into more of a generative BIM as well. Yeah, so this is what I've also been worked on, quite similar to others as well.
Okay, and maybe you can answer the other question also, like how do you think basically how difficult or complex AI ML implementation in the AEC industry compared to other industry, retail, healthcare, right?
Yeah, so what we see more is from a computer vision that is image-based, or you see a lot of text-based AI models being developed. But I feel, the AC industry is very different. We have not just something which can be completely taken from an image or a text, though they are very, very relevant, very helpful in a lot of use cases. But what happens is, we have, for example, there's something which is being in a very advanced stage, which is called as graph-based AI, which is something which I'm very, very excited about. Now, what's a graph? A graph is like a network. So you have multiple entities, and these entities are connected to other entities, and they have relationship between each other. So it's very much like a building or a space where you have multiple components in a building, each connected with other components. For example, if it's a steel building, you have a steel column. You could have a beam which is welded, bolted, and each has a different kind of a relationship, be structural or production or all of that. So, I think it makes a lot of sense for us to start thinking, building like a graph, and making use of BIM itself as data sets. Of course, you have the other data sets from LLMs, or text or images, but graph itself and BIM itself can become data sets. And that is when much more innovation will start coming into the AEC side. That's something that I really am excited about.
Anyone want to answer, like from a data point of view, how much readiness is there, or like, I would say like sharing data to others when you are talking about like AI, ML, right? So what do you think like some of the challenges?
So I think, this is quite a tricky question, because many times customers are not happy to share their internal data, because creating any kind of AI or ML models, you basically needs data. But fortunately, our AEC industry is not in that phase now. They are more like using the ACC or CD, so that data sharing is possible from that perspective. Again, at CCTech, when there is a challenge, the customers are reluctant to share that data. We are creating a synthetic data using our in-house domain expert. Then we build those models for the clients, and while deploying at their premises, we use their data through the script. So none of the data get outside of their domain. So getting data from customers is again a tricky and challenging task. So at CCTech, we are driving an initiative to create domain-specific data available publicly. So I would like to others also to join to the CCTech, so that for at least in India, we can create a rich data set for different applications, so that people can leverage it to create newer and newer AI ML models.
Yeah, Atul, you want to comment?
Yeah, I mean, I think, so we also get restricted in sharing customer data. So that's a problem with, like, non-disclosure agreements and other things that we have signed. So although I mean, we can use it for our own purposes, so that shouldn't be an issue, but like, I think sharing with sort of outside parties sometimes becomes a challenge. I think this problem is not going to go away in any sense. So I think this is where I feel like, something like what, the CTAI is, or in the US, like what something like, Stanford or SciFi can do, where, they are maybe the more neutral players that the data can be shared anonymously or redacted or whatever, and I think can then be shared with the players. I mean, I don't know that any one of us has enough data to train all the models that we would need to train, but I think somehow that needs to happen. Other industries have sort of figured this out, medicine and others. So,
Great, thank you. So I think we can enter into the second set of my questions. One was, how do you select a right use case for like AIML? Means people come with a different use cases, and like most of the time we start working on those use cases. But how do you guys select in your company, or for you, how do you give your customers select the right use case?
I think so. From my perspective, Manoj, I think I see, at least in the short term, AI sort of helping automate a lot of the things that people don't find a lot of joy in doing. Like, I mean, once you model something, or once you have created something like annotating a model, or writing sort of extracting submittal information from specifications. I mean, these are things that, I think there was this notion that unless you did that physically, you're not learning something. I don't think I think we are beyond that sort of point now. So to me, those are all good use cases where, you're at least helping when people are already stressed for time. I think, doing sort of some of that. And then the other one is sort of, really these value-added things like the resource management one that we talked about. I think the other example that we have is identifying hazardous risk activities based on, going through the schedules automatically, so you can make sure that the right checklist is available when they're doing work, things like that. So.
Okay. So Keshav, you want to answer?
The use cases, I think, like as Atul mentioned, right? One would be the manual tasks that people don't enjoy doing can be easily automated, so that people can start enjoying the work that they actually do. And the second would be identifying errors, or like mitigating human errors. That could be one way you can think of AI helping and augment what a person can do today. So if you can identify, let's say, errors on a construction document before the construction actually begins, that reduces a lot of the risk and potential cost and time harm for the construction company as well. So you can think of AI helping on those critical aspects, but AI is not there yet wherein you can trust it blindly. You need to have a human in the loop. You need to have someone to do the QA QC for the, let's say, model or anything, the output generated from the AI models as well. So I think it's a combination of the two. The manual parts that like Atul highlighted, which is essentially people don't like doing. So the repetitive, very manual and tedious tasks. And second would be just doing QA QC to identify any human errors that maybe got overlooked and that is going to be detrimental to the project.
Great.
There are a lot of times I feel, we don't need to get into AI itself. For example, I mean, you're saying the manuals, humans loop. So most of the time, even a simple Python script or a Excel macro itself will do a lot of stuff than, going with AI ML itself. Though it's very exciting, I'm sure the future has a lot of potential for AI and ML, but yeah, it's now at the point where we are now, considering the kind of data quality also that we have and data limit, a lot of things can be automated just through Python and
Okay,
Excel.
thanks. So even I'm going to the third set of questions, but even in vConstruct, right? So my question was on the AI/ML readiness. So one is including like, are we posing a right AI/ML problem? So we are doing some awareness within company, like at least basic awareness before somebody comes with a AI/ML problem. So my question is like, okay, we heard a lot of like, you're going to lose the job, a lot of jobs at stake, like a lot of skills at stake, or probably like you have full stack development skills, or you may not need that. So the question is like, do you think like how is the industry getting ready, or how even the technology company getting ready for these changes? Maybe we can start with you.
Okay, so yes, I mean, definitely there is, the industry has to move to that side in terms of adopting technology. I mean, civil engineering has moved a lot, or architecture both. It's a convergence of civil engineering and technology these days. And yeah, I mean, I think the future has, the technology has to be the future, but how much of, ready are we? I'm still not sure. There is, in the architecture side, there is computational design, which is again to the, so more than the, technology side, I think we'll have to start having a more computational thinking kind of, adoption in the industry. That itself will solve a lot of things for us.
Okay, thanks. Keshav?
Like one thing that I always tell people is AI is not going to take your job. AI is not there yet, at least for the next decade or two minimum. But what will happen is, it's a very cliched saying that AI will not replace your job. Someone using AI will replace you, right? Because someone using AI is much better than you to a certain level when you don't have that, let's say, additional set of brains with you. So I think that's how I look at it. At the same time, one angle is, there are two sets of companies you come across in this industry. One is technology adopting, and the second is technology fearing. And I've seen a lot of the companies, or like majority of the people from technology fearing, going towards technology adopting. Specifically on the architectural firms, you would assume that the architectural firms will always do everything manually, but then a lot of these firms are now switching to AI for doing, let's say, site analysis, doing layout planning, just to understand exactly how or what possibilities are available at their disposal, by reducing the amount of time they spend during the bid proposal and all of those documentation processes. So I think AI will help you do your job better, as opposed to replace you from the job.
Okay, great. Vivek?
I think I am majorly agree with him. AI is not going to lose your job or something drastically changing it. It will take at least a decade or 15 years to adopt that change. But majorly what will happen, when the AI will come, then the trivial task, the repetition task, those can be done automatically. So people can work on bigger and bigger or complex and complex problem. So I think the industry and the domain people will be able to free in mind so that they can take the complex problem. So I think the more and more innovation is going to be happen with the help of AI. And I think the another thing you asked for the technology companies also. So I think in that also the full stack developers or the people who are using it, if they are doing a particular task in a weeks or a month, that can be done in a 2 days or 3 days. So I think the software development duration, it will get reduced drastically. So the newer and newer softwares, newer and newer applications can come into the market as early as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very different view, Manoj, on this particular thing. I feel like I think our jobs are becoming more valuable. I've had more discussions with, like, let's say, pure play sort of AI technologists, because what they are, I mean, obviously there's a lot of fundamental sort of, research investment in making all these AI tools, LLMs and all that. Like, I think there's obviously a lot of, work that is happening there. But the bigger thing I feel for our industry is at the intersection of people who have the domain knowledge, getting together with the technology people. And to me, that's a awesome golden opportunity for those people who are inclined to, use, I mean, the type of people that are in the audience, inclined to obviously look at those types of opportunities. And you see, I mean, you saw some examples yesterday with the startups, and I'm seeing more examples of that where, those opportunities are going to exist for people in our industry. And I think the other thing is, I think we talked, the previous question was about data. And suddenly the non-sexy industry like construction is becoming more interesting because we are the ones who have the data. We don't know what to do with it, but, I think that's going to be important. So I feel like, I think, I mean, instead of fearing that we're going to lose the jobs, I think we need to figure out how to come together and really benefit from what we do have, and partner with others and create better opportunities for us. So that's my view.
Okay, great. So I think all of us are saying like, okay, in the AC industry, basically, like there are use cases we are exploring. We really don't know as of now, like what's the final, most of the complex use case we have not touched. Secondly, I think Keshav has said like, we are more in the AI assist mode. We are not 100% like, you cannot 100% take decisions on the data. Maybe you need some QA/QC or manual intervention to those decisions. And it's not like you're going to lose the jobs, but you can probably add more value in your jobs with the AI. Like, so probably that's what, as a panel, you guys are suggesting. And if you have any questions from a audience who are listening, like.
So I think a lot of thoughts really started in my mind from this discussion. Have like a lot of questions, but couple of them I'll ask and open for anyone to answer. Very first thing is like we, at least in construction industry, are pretty much growing into the AI technology, and probably like we are still getting matured in this. But as per some of the implementations you guys have been doing in AI, what do you think, or what is your observation in terms of the success rate of implementation of AI use case, or the ratio of that in terms of implementation as well as adoption? And my second set of question is like, how do you see the ratio between the technology or a technical knowledge with respect to the domain understanding? And how do you try to merge this both while doing the implementations of any AI initiatives?
Yeah, I can take that. Essentially, like as Atul mentioned, right, I'll start with the latter question first. As people who understand the technology, we might not have complete understanding of the industry. That's where, like what Atul mentioned, was combining and working with people who have domain expertise and bringing that to technology and applying that in the solution or in the field or in actual workflows is going to be very important. And we feel there are a lot of companies who are now taking that initiative because they understand that AI is important and can actually benefit them a little bit, at least if in hindsight, and people are moving in that direction wherein they help, let's say, new startups, partner up with them, help them understand exactly what their pain points are, what data they currently have, share that data as much as they are able to, and get that, let's say, use cases in place. In terms of the former question that you had was the gap between, let's say, AI doing it and like how reliable is it? Am I getting that correct?
No, slightly different. Like it's more about a ratio of a success rate of implementation. Let's say like you do 100 use case, but only 5 of them business are, trying to adopt it, or only 5 of them are getting successful. How do you see that happening?
I would suggest to focus more on the use case you're going after. This all falls down to the basic first principles in terms of what is the biggest pain point for the customer. If you're solving that very accurately and actually solving it, the customers will readily adopt it. Now, there's a very big conception in the construction industry that people are moving slow, they don't adopt new technologies. My thought process is different. I feel that construction industry is very open to adopting new technologies if you can prove the value of it to those people today, right? And you have to understand that the switching cost for any construction company is going to be much higher from an existing tool to a new tool. So you have to deliver 10 times more value, not 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. It has to be 10 times better, cheaper, or faster, in some way or the other. As long as you deliver that value and that value is seen by the customer, they move fairly quickly.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, from Mr. Atul insight view, I was thinking I will lose my job, but he said we are the data, so I'm confident.
Yeah, no, I think I have the data. We also have the gray hair. So.
Yeah, similar kind of question. Compared to other field, like civil industry is not digitalized well. So if you take a medicine field or life science and something, data is one format only. They have standardized the format, data format. When it comes to construction industry, our data formats are very vast, like images, videos, an Excel sheet, DWs, and now 3D objects. So to interact with this data, AI is very challenging. How to handle this situation actually? So first of all, we need to feed the data to the AI model. That itself is a very challenging job in a construction industry, because so our concept is not standardized. So 90% of our data lies on the human brains only. We are the expertise field, like human-centric field. So how can AI can handle this tacit knowledge if you say?
So, like I was mentioning before, see, we are very, very fragmented, but at the same time, the kind of data that we are after, so definitely there is the images and LLMs, but I feel, we should also look at BIM as data sets, BIM as, sources of points of data science itself, because that has got a lot of data within it. It's got not just geometry, it's got relationships, it's got properties, it's got time, it's got a lot of data coming into it. And that is when I really feel that could be a change in how we look at things. Of course, you also have image or text, but I think these would be a better for our use case from whatever I've worked on.
I think I would like to add to Arun. I think in this kind of examples where you have a data from different sources like video, audio, maybe CAD models, or maybe a PDF files or documents. So right now there are models who can extract the data from each sources, but there is no data AI models who can process all of them. So the suggestion here is that you can create ensemble models so that it can process individual objects. It will get the context from that data, and the next model will process that data. So there are ways to do that.
Thank you, sir.
So I have a question. Maybe anyone of can answer this question. So now you guys are working on AI a lot. So what is the biggest challenge you guys have faced while adapting AI?
I can start on that. Data is the biggest challenge that we have seen across. That too, good quality data. be any format, good labeled data is really hard to find.
Just to give you the example, there are PDFs where the notes are handwritten and no one knows the context about that handwritten notes. So to get that interesting or insightful data is a difficult task. But there are ways how you can do that.
I think I feel like our biggest challenge is the hype surrounding AI. I think suddenly people think that it's going to solve the world's problems and start believing in the results that they see. And I mean, I think I hope it doesn't go there. I mean, I still think that there's a lot of valuable things we can do with it, but we have to sort of temper our exuberance with it a little bit, because I do see, some random person coming in and saying, oh yeah, you can just do AI and it'll be all fine, It's like, okay, I mean, there's a lot of deep technical understanding you need to have. There's good problems you can solve with it, but the hype, I think, has overtaken, and that's a challenge.
So I'll take the liberty of asking the last question of the day. So we've heard about a lot of use cases of AI. All of you are working in different fields within AI. You're probably encountering a lot of different customers, all of whom have very specific needs. Especially in construction, every project is unique. Even for a single GC, you can have 10 problem statements coming in. So what is your thought process around developing the conviction in your own products? Or how much of a leeway do you leave to customize your products for specific use cases that the customers might come to you with? Like, what is the balance or the right balance?
So I think I will. So for us, it is mostly depends on how that use case or the requirement is interesting, because all of us coming from the technology background, we are very excited to work on the technical or complex problem. So many times we have seen that last year we have done the simulation for the Lima airport from the Peru. In that, it was not possible for us to do either through our conventional way in a product. So we certainly break down the whole problem into the different pieces and completed it. So it depends on the use case, how that use case is interesting.
So we generally try and get to 90-10 kind of a split. So 90% should be automated irrespective of the type of project, location, and detailing. The remaining 10% can be handled with specific requirements, or let's say very personalized problem statements that come into picture, or challenges that come into picture. As you mentioned, every project is different. Even if you're building the same residential building, let's say in Bangalore, and same residential building is being built in Mumbai, you'll still face a lot of challenges and differences between these two projects, just because of the location and how complex the construction projects are. So having that 10-15% leeway is very important. We try to keep it at 90-10 split as far as feasible, but yeah.
Thank you so much, all the panelists.